For this typeset, I'm going to be using this website, which has Pride and Prejudice for free and public access. It has all the chapters listed at the start and then continues on to the whole novel. So I'm just going to start by highlighting the first few sentences and then scroll down to the end of the page and click the last character while holding down Shift. After creating a new Word document, paste the characters down and then go to the rest of the book and follow the same steps. If you find a website that has the whole book, then you don't have to go through this process more than once like I'm doing now. But I like this website as it labels the chapters, and I've noticed that other sites I looked at didn't, so I'm just choosing to use this one. Select the whole document by doing Control A or Command A, and then just click a random style in the top bar. It doesn't matter what style you do, just a random one. Then right click and click Modify. So here are all the details of our style, and I'm just going to change my font to the one I prefer, which is Garamond, and then I choose about 14 for my size with double spacing. If you're getting your text from a website like we've done here, it won't always change the color of the font right away. So I'm going to select black instead of automatic. And then we're going to go to the paragraph setting and we're going to select first line. So this is going to create an indent for the first line of each paragraph. I always set mine to 0.6 centimeters, but you can do it to whatever dimension you want. Now you can see here that it hasn't changed everything completely. The font size and the font itself hasn't changed. So we're just going to have to do that manually while everything's selected. We're then going to create 4 blank pages at the start of the book. The first 2 pages you leave blank as they'll be the first pages you see when you open your book. The next one we're going to have the title and the author of the book. And then after that we're going to have a blurb and a brief synopsis of all the information that's in the book. That will be on the inside of the book. I'm just going to create a plain template for what I want the front cover title to look like, and then after that I'm going to move on to doing the margins. Now, when editing your margins, always select whole document so the margins will apply to every page. That is the most important thing when editing your margins. The margins I use are typically in the range of these I have listed on the screen, but I want this to be a tiny bit longer and wider because I'm planning to have a large chapter heading in this typeset. I use the website 1001 Fonts to find new fonts for my typesets. I decide to go for a script font and then type the first bit of the title into the preview box. It gives me a better generalized idea of what my title's going to look like. And I think I really like this one. It's called Precious, so I'm just going to go ahead and download this. When it comes to downloading fonts, we need to make sure that Word document is fully closed and we've quit out of it. So I'm going to hit download, go to my downloads, and then open the file. Once I've made sure that it's all there, I'm going to go to my applications and find Microsoft Word. I'm going to then right click and then click show package contents, and I'm going to search for D font. This is going to be the file that has all of the fonts I have on Microsoft Word in it, and I'm just going to drag my font into it and download it there. I'm then going to go back to the font and double click on it and install it on my actual computer. And just a reminder, your Word document should be closed the whole time while you're doing this, otherwise you won't be able to find the font. So I'm just going to close and quit it now. I forgot to do it earlier, but it's fine. I just have to quit it, reset, and then open the file again. And this time when I search for the font Precious, it will come up, and here it is. I'm then just going to fiddle around a bit for the sizing, trying to make it look perfect for my title. This font was designed only for single line and single spacing, so I have to go through and edit it a little bit just to make it fit, and I even end up making a separate text box for it because it doesn't really work in 2 paragraphs. So if you do have a font that ends up like this, you might have to do just a little bit of fiddling, but again, it's all in the creative process and you can take as long as you need and do all of the edits that you want. Now, for the page after the title page, it could have a lot of different names. It could be called the copyright page, the dedication, or the epigraph. Now, what I do for this page is I put a bunch of information about the book, when it was published, completed, all that. So I'm going to start with the title and the author's name, and then after that I'm going to try and find a little blurb or a brief consensus of what the book is about. So I'm just going to go to Amazon and get up Pride and Prejudice, and it's going to have some details here. And I'm just going to copy the sentence that I think describes the book the most, because this was written so long ago there isn't a great blurb for it. So I'm just going to write when it was published, which was 1813, and then I'm just going to go ahead and paste that detail. If you also feel so inclined, you can write down your own name. So I'm going to do my typeset and design by myself, and I'm just going to put my little logo there as well afterwards. I've recently started getting a lot of my chapter headings and my title page designs from Canva because they have a really great range of images. So I'm just going to search up antique frames because I feel like that's going to be something that's going to go with the vibe of my book, because I want it to be still quite old and true to the original format of the book. So I'm getting pretty tired of manually trying to center everything, so I'm just going to create a shortcut for it. So I'm going to go to the top of my window, click Tools, and then Customize Keyboard. It's going to come up with all the options, and I'll scroll down to All Commands, and then click Align Center Horizontal. And then I can choose any keys I want to make this command work. I'm going to do Command 2. So now every time I click on something and then press Command 2 on my keyboard, it will automatically align it for me, so I don't have to keep doing it manually. So I chose this frame on Canva because I really like the center of it and how it can feature the chapter. So I'm going to do a Roman numeral style in the middle of the frame. And this will come to bite me towards the end of the process, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to center it and create a new style for the chapters. So for this style, I'm going to make sure I have the chapter number selected. I'm going to right click on a style that's already there that I'm not using and update it to match what I've selected, and then just rename it chapters. So a drop cap is what we call the accentuated first letter of each chapter. So I'm just going to create a plain drop cap there and then just make it the font I want. And it's going to look weird at first. The first one always does when we don't put it into a style. So I'm just going to edit it a tiny bit. It doesn't really matter when it comes to the first one. And then I'm going to create a new style for it and just call it letter or drop cap. Doesn't matter what you call it. And once I've got that, I'm actually going to delete that drop cap and then just retype the I of the first sentence and then click on drop cap again and then on my style, and that way I'll be able to edit it more freely. I usually like to have my drop cap sit next to the first two lines, so I'm just going to move it there, and then I'm just going to edit around with the sizing and the position of the drop cap. Once I'm happy with the drop cap and the positioning and the sizing, I'm then just going to go to the style, right click on it and click update to match selected. So now every time I create a drop cap, it will look just like that one. Now, if you're planning on alternating what your chapter headers will look like, or if you have multiple designs, I always suggest opening a blank document next to your main one and then just pasting your design there so you don't have to keep scrolling up and down to get the newest one for your next chapter. So I recommend doing this. I don't necessarily need to do this since I only have one style that I have for my chapter headings, so I can just copy and paste the whole time. But if you do have multiple styles, you might want to open a second page just to have them next to you. Instead of creating a drop cap the normal way every time, I'm going to create a shortcut for that as well. So I'm going to go to Alt Commands, select drop cap, and then I'm going to make my keys Command D. I'm now going to go through all of my chapters and just repeat the process over and over again. Since this is around 61 chapters, it takes me a while and I end up regretting the Roman numerals around chapter 30. So you've got something that's really, really long. I would not recommend doing Roman numerals like I did. Feel free to skip ahead the next like 10-20 seconds because it will just be me repeating this process over and over and over again till I get to the last chapter of the book. But it has helped a lot that I have the shortcuts for my drop caps and centering, so I can just do Command 2 or Command D instead of going up to my board every time to change it manually. So that has helped a lot. And finally, after 61 long chapters, I have finally made it to the end of my typeset. So I'm just going to put a little cute end here at the bottom of my page, and then this version of the typeset will be all done. But we're not done yet, we still have to sort it. So I will do that next.